going on, everybody? Happy Wednesday to you. Happy 49ers 5-0 day. Whatever day it is in the week, we can still celebrate. It doesn't have to be Victory Monday. It can be Victory Wednesday too. So, another episode of First and Ted, me, 49ers First Takes, and my guy Ted H6, aka Ted Hazelrig. We're here to talk some Niners. We're going to do a little bit of an apology tour too with Ted today. Ted's got a lot of crow he said that he would be willing to eat, so he's going to try. I have a feeling though Ted's going to say it, but there'll be something kind of like but at the end of it. Just knowing
you can
Ted
see it in my tweets. I mean,
but it's all out of love. We can talk about things and not get each other all up in our feelings. So before we get started, how you doing, man?
Can't complain. I hit my first level of monetization yesterday with super chats and channel memberships. So I got my first super chat yesterday, and excited just to be monetized on YouTube. Not fully. I don't have the ad revenue. Still got to hit 1,000 subs for that. So that quest continues, but really happy to be monetized on YouTube, monetized on Twitter, X, whatever we're calling it these days, and have a sponsor. So that's good stuff.
Speaking of that sponsor, we're gonna let you. I'll let you do your sponsor spot right now if you'd like. For all those who are watching on both channels, like and subscribe to both 49ers First Takes podcast and Ted's Ted Talks Ball channel. It helps both of us. You can watch both streams at the same time. Give us both a view. Greatly appreciate the views and the likes. It helps the algorithm find us. And Ted has to pay the bills here, so I'll let him do his part.
I appreciate that, Aaron. Thanks. Yeah, so now I'm, Ted Talks Ball, TTB, brought to you by TTG. It stands for the Travelstead Group. They're a retail and hospitality logistics company. They do transportation and warehousing for brick and mortar. They do FFE, which is fixed furniture and equipment. They do OSC, which is operating supplies and equipment, new store openings, rollouts, relocations, decommissions, from the first mile to the final mile and everywhere in between. Travelstead has you covered. Let us know how we can help you by air, ocean, or land. Closed loop solutions for retail and hospitality. So I work with Nick and Henry there. They're great guys. And they have all US-based support. Like when you're doing logistics, there's always snafus, timing, and they're complicated endeavors. So there's always issues that pop up. And it's always good to know when you call for help. There are people answering the phone, know what you're going through. You're not going to end up in some call center overseas where they have no clue what you do as a business or how to help. So thanks. Yeah. So the link is in my description of the show. It's in my YouTube about page, my Twitter bio, also link on Instagram and Facebook too. If you follow me there, check it out. They have a cool video, and be sure you tell them Ted sent you.
Nice. Before we get started with any topics, I want to say hello to the people in the chat. Red Jet Shell was in here about 4 minutes before we started. She says, Ted, let's go Niners. We got James Journal, friend of both channels, or maybe I think
across the pond.
He's saying roses. I guess that's a form of saying like hello.
Flowers.
Hello. He's giving us
flowers for Purdy. Give Purdy his flowers.
We got my boy BC in the house, Brian Culp. Thank you so much. Laura Cat, as always, supporting everybody on YouTube. Laura, I love you. Randy Daytona, another old friend of the stream. He definitely watches both streams, so we thank you for coming through. You're always super supportive. It's like you're on here every single day. I think I need you to go outside and touch grass, bro. You watch everybody's streams. No, I'm just kidding.
After the show.
Yeah, after the show, go touch grass. After the show, do what you got to do. Raphael 562 always coming through and being part of it, so I appreciate that. How about them Niners? The little fire and thumbs up emoji. I 100% agree on that one. Jimmy Perez, what's up, Ted and Aaron? Thank you so much, man, for coming through. Much appreciated. Let's see what we got here. We have Kenneth Gilmore. He says Niners focused now on the Browns. This Cowboys game is behind us. Keep the same energy for Sunday's game. Oh, definitely. We're going to talk about the Cowboys game because that was a freaking monumental ass kicking. You can't ignore that. Frank Tom Ocean, TNA, you better believe it, baby. And let's see, we got Bill. I don't even know how to say your last name.
Kivany?
Kivany. He says it's far too early for everyone to be losing it over Purdy. I saw something earlier when someone.
Or
Why
Cavani?
does I hate when my computer does that? When someone was putting him and Joe Cool in the same conversation, it's all really silly. Let him prove it. No, I understand. I may be partially to blame for that because I post videos and clips from like radio stations and other people saying stuff. So I'm kind of slightly to blame for this kind of hyperbole that's happening, but that's because I'm just happy that I think we really have a quarterback. So that's just me. Uh, when you've been what the Niners been going through for all these years, never having like a sure number one guy, and now kind of maybe it could be with Purdy. You get a little excited. Let's hope it continues to be that way. Let's hope he continues to ascend because if he does, I think the Niners Super Bowl championship could be in our future, and it's not just hyperbole. I think it's a real possibility. Steve-O, Mr. Supremo, I was wrong. He's listening.
He wants me to say it. I was wrong.
And
I was
Raphael and
wrong. I
Mr. Joe,
apologize.
Raphael 562 Niners, what up? You find what's up? You find you everywhere? Oh, I must because he's always seeing him in all the streams. All right. So let's do a quick review of the 49ers game. Monumental ass kicking. It was quite impressive. I did not expect that. I did not go into watching that game thinking the Niners were going to blow them out. I thought just based on player talent and their ferocity on their pass rush that it would be a close game. I thought the Niners offense might struggle a little bit. I still thought the Niners were going to win, but I had no clue that it was going to be a one-sided blowout. I heard something or seen something that Diamador Lenore said that the guys in the locker room were kind of pissed off that all the talk was going on and on about the Cowboys defense. And to quote Michael Jordan, they took it personal. So I always love those kind of games because I get to relax because I'm highly tense, highly emotional, highly stressed person when I watch football. So when a team's freaking putting the boots to somebody, for my mental health, it's really good. So I had a good night. What was your experience? And what's your takeaway from that game?
My experience was, I was expecting a really close game. I predicted 24-21. I felt like the Cards game was easily explainable by 80% of the Cowboys offensive line being out. They got a couple or three of those guys back for the Patriots. They blew them out 38-3. I was expecting a slobber knocker, knockdown, drag out, two powerhouses going at it. And yeah, the Cowboys didn't show up. We handled Micah Parsons, DeMarcus Lawrence too. There was, Kyle called a masterful game. I think, with Purdy and the whole Joe Montana thing and hyperbole thing, I was saying it was hyperbole. And so now people are coming back at me with a lot of, saying after my tweets, oh, that's hyperbole or you're mid or something, so-and-so's mid or something. Like I said something about, isn't it amazing that like John Chapman tweeted out a tweet with, Willis and Bowman and Fred and Dre. I said, it's pretty incredible that we had the best two linebackers in football twice in less than a decade. That's pretty incredible. And somebody said, oh, well, that's hyperbole. I'm like, no, it's not hyperbole if it's true. And so, Steve-O in the comments there, he asked, what made you change your mind? And, it's because the hyperbole is coming true. I'm not going to say he's Montana yet, because to do that, to be Montana, you gotta orchestrate some major, well, the rings, sure. Yeah, I get that. But even just like Montana at this stage of his career, you got to orchestrate some pretty massive comebacks against tall odds. But just what he's doing, and so what made me change my mind, Steve-O, it was the last 2.3 games. So it was the end of the Giants game. It was all the Cards game, and it was all of the Cowboys game. And it's just pretty clear to me that Brock Purdy, I was wrong. He is a franchise QB. I moved him up after the Giants game. I had him, before when I called him middle of the pack, mediocre, average, whatever. I had him 14-18, basically 16, right? 16-ish. And after the Giants game, I moved him up to 11 to 15. After the Cards game, I moved him up to 8 to 12. And now after the Cowboys game, I've moved him up to 6 to 9. And that's not to say that he has the sixth best stats. The stats are near the best. It's just I think there are 6 to 9 quarterbacks who could come in and do the same or better on this team with everything that Brock Purdy has. I've been pretty vocal about saying that he has the cushiest QB gig in the NFL. I think Tua is close, and I think Jalen Hurts is close. But and not to say that any QB gig is cushy, right? I mean, or easy. It's not. It's the hardest job in the world, just by the fact that there's only like 10 people in the world that are any good at it, or real good at it, that are franchise QBs, what I would call. So yeah, I mean, I'm really impressed. I want to see him keep it up. I am starting to wonder if we were just wrong about the Cowboys being a contender. I think, this Browns defense will be a great test, but the Browns offense, they don't have Chubb. Well, anyway, I don't want to jump into the preview too much here, right? We're still going through the recap. I mean, I was super stoked to see Kittle do really well. I've been saying, before the Cards game and this game, that I thought he would have a breakout game. He did. Ashley Baker said it first to me last week, and then I repeated it a few times in shows. I haven't clipped them all out yet, but I've been meaning to do that to make shorts. And really good to see Mason playing well. Obviously, Bosa to get his sack. The defense finally had their best game of the season. The game against the Steelers was almost as good, but the Steelers offense is nothing compared to CeeDee Lamb and Tony Pollard and Dak Prescott. Kenny Smallhands Pickett doesn't really impress me, and neither does. I do like Pickens, their receiver, and Deontay Johnson, but
they're talented.
They're talented on offense, but just Kenny Pickett holds them back, and probably their offensive line too. Cowboys had arguably one of the better offensive lines in football, and our defense got good pressure and kept them from running the ball well. Special teams was great. Tons of turnovers. I mean, there's just so much to love in this game. It was just a good old fashioned ass whooping. And like you said, it makes you feel really good when your team plays really well, especially against at least the team that we thought was a contender coming into it. I think it's starting to look more and more like it's just us and the Eagles, maybe the Lions, maybe the Seahawks in the NFC.
I just want fans, to sit back and enjoy what's going on right now. Sit back and enjoy the players that we have on this team, the talent. This doesn't last forever as far as, I mean, the Patriots almost had a 20-year run, right?
Yep.
And, some teams have runs that last a long time. And now the Patriots, if you look at them, it's just like, it's really sad, right? As a 49er fan, my brother made a good point. He's like, you really got to enjoy this because, I mean, you guys are really good right now. Because you watch games, and I hope we're not peaking early. That's my question to you next is are we peaking early? I hate that we're doing so well so quickly, but we've struggled the last couple of years and came out really slow and had to fight and fight and fight to get to where we needed to be. And then by the end, we were gassed. This team continues to play the way that they're playing and putting down teams the way they're putting them down. That number one seed could be a possibility. If the Niners get that number one seed, I think the Niners have a legitimate shot at getting back to the Super Bowl. It means that much to them, the number one seed. And right now they're 5-0. They're playing really well. They're relatively healthy. They're going to get some guys back in the secondary soon, which is always good. And just Brock, I'm not saying that he's Montana-esque, but the one part of his game that reminds me of Joe, and that's why I uploaded the clip, is his unflappable, calm demeanor. That's how Joe was. And Brent Jones, they asked him, because, it is hyperbole to throw Montana. What do you think? You think he's like it? Put a number 1-6 on his jersey. I'm not going there yet. And that you need a lot more proof for that. But I don't feel stressed watching Brock Purdy in games at all. None. Ever. I was always stressed with Jimmy. Always. When I watch Brock, I'm like, okay, even if he throws a pick, he's going to be fine. He's going to come back and he's still going to sling it, and he's probably going to make some really good throws, even for a guy who's supposedly small stature, weak arm, all that. I definitely get people want to compare to Montana, but I get like a Drew Brees vibe, because Drew Brees was smallish, but he was accurate, and that their offense was dynamic with him, even though he was limited. And that's kind of what I see with Brock. But I hope we're not peaking too early. I don't know. What's your take? What's your feeling on that? Is that something that crosses your mind, or do you think this team is above that and will find a way to make it through?
It's always a concern because we've in 2021 and 2022 we started out slow and we finished strong going into the playoffs. Thank you, Laura Cat. Appreciate it. My first $5 super sticker.
Nice.
And much appreciated. It's like I finally made it to being monetized here on YouTube. It's incredible.
That's awesome.
In fact, there was one that you got from Cinnamon Kiss a while back that she meant to give to me, a $9.99.
I know. I felt bad. I was like, "Oh, thank you very much."
Yeah, well, not that bad, obviously.
Not this time.
No, it's all good. It's all good. It'll all even out in the end. I know that. But thank you, Laura Cat. Really appreciate that, and it's super generous of you for sure. So yeah, I mean, as far as the game goes, I mean, I think Kyle really trusts Brock. I think he finally has his guy, and that's why in a show I did earlier this week, I said, is Brock Purdy Kyle's Mahomes? Because because you remember me saying a lot this offseason that Andy Reid was Kyle until Kyle passed on Mahomes. And yeah, I mean, I think this team, they have a singular purpose. They know that they got robbed last year by Purdy getting injured, and they want to show that it was no fluke. And, barring injury, I do think that they can duplicate it. I think as long as we're careful not to overuse people, it's difficult because obviously Elijah Mitchell has been out for the last 2-3 weeks. But Jordan Mason sure did play nicely.
He played great. He can hold on to the ball. I don't see any reason why he can't be. I think he's more electric, to be honest with you, as a back than Mason. Mason can run, but he's always hurt. Like I feel like the Niners. Elijah Mitchell's just always hurt, and a lot of people. I was crapping on him in the offseason. A lot of people were kind of coming at me like, "Oh, why are you being like that?" I'm like, "Well, he's always hurt." And now, and guess what? He's hurt again.
Yeah, you and I were both lockstep on that one all off season.
Yeah, I'm not a hater, people. I just I'm old enough and I've watched enough football to know. And sometimes you just gotta cut your losses with guys. I thought that about Kinlaw. I still feel that way about Kinlaw, regardless if he's playing well as a backup. I don't know, man. Once I'm off of a guy, pause. As a player, I tend to just move on mentally and the team. And I quit on Dante Pettis so fast, and everybody else was like, give it a chance. And I'm like, no, dude's a freaking squirrely weirdo. He's into cats, which is okay. I love cats, but it was just, that was some weird stuff there. But hey, what are you going to do? You can't win them all. Coaching staff are the ones that make the choice at the end. So I got to leave it for them. We got another super sticker here.
Thanks, Curtis.
CBN Nut Tree.
Yeah, it's Curtis. He's a Chiefs fan. So.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
Yo.
So Curtis, we got to ask how he's going to feel when Brock wins the MVP and Mahomes doesn't. How are you going to feel about that?
He probably wouldn't care because he'd be like, "We got. I'm all about Super Bowls," and I can't say that I blame him.
I can't say I blame him either.
Yo, your team.
They want it all. They want Mahomes to be MVP. They want Kelsey to be better than Kittle. They want Chris Jones to be the best defensive lineman in the league, and he's up there for sure.
Hey, listen, man, the Chiefs they're the reigning Super Bowl champions once again. So I give
this year it's their D that's going to do it if they do it. Their defense is better.
Yeah, their offense isn't as dynamic, but their quarterback is still
insane.
As long as they have Mahomes behind center, there's no question that they're going to be probably in the Super Bowl again, if not championship game. It's a matter of who can beat them. Like, who's out there? Miami,
Buffalo. Well, I would say Buffalo, but they lost back-to-back weeks. Those poor bastards. They lost Tre'Davious White against the Dolphins, and then in London against the Jags. They lost Matt Milano, who's one of the best middle linebackers in football, obviously after Fred Warner, but he's in that next tier conversation of top middle linebackers in the league, maybe top 5. Those are 2 massive blows. They did get Von Miller back this week, but I just don't know that he can counteract all that badness, all that injury nastiness. It's a real bummer for the Bills.
What
But maybe the Bengals. The Bengals are starting to play better.
Yeah, the Bengals are starting to play better. That is a team. I lost in them on Madden. They beat me. I couldn't stop their passing
Jags,
game.
who beat the Bills, look pretty good. Trevor Lawrence is good. Kirk is good. Ridley is really good. They got a good defense. So it's pretty wild.
Frank Tom Ocean, he says, congrats, bro. Aaron is still the OG of content. Thanks, Frank.
There you go.
Thank you.
Thank you for the super chat. I appreciate it.
Yeah. Wait, is that on your side?
Yeah.
Hell, you're getting paid today.
I am, man.
Thank you, everybody, for the supers, by the way.
It's because of the apology tour. People are they were so mad at me.
All of a sudden, he's a Purdy fan, and now everybody loves him. See how it works?
But I
peer pressure.
Aaron, how many times did I say I really like Purdy, or I like Purdy a lot?
I never. I'll tell you what.
The hyperbole.
You knew I believe you per se. When you kept saying I like Purdy, but there was always an if and or but with anything that anybody said good about him. This is just weird because when I watched the game the other night and he was playing awesome and he was carrying the offense, but he was making throws that got that offense moving. I was like, I wonder how Ted's going to react to this. And I was searching Twitter for but, and I got none of that. And I'm like, oh God, he's kind of quiet, actually. I haven't heard much from Ted.
No, my only but is that, like I said, I was wrong, but like he's been playing totally differently the last 2.3 games. So it's not like when I was saying a lot of stuff, what I was saying was wrong at the time. It just looks wrong now because Purdy's balling the F out. And I did say all along, like, if he's balling out and we don't win the Super Bowl because of some fluky reason or injuries, I'm not going to hold that against him. And so if he can keep playing like this, then it's really not that much of hyperbole anymore. Then it's really like he's earned it, and just keep it up. I'd keep it up.
James Durnell, you speak to my heart. He says it's all about clout for the Swifties. Nothing has made me root against football team more. I enjoyed watching the Chiefs, but the NFL is a minute naughty. Oh, dude. There's 3 things I hate more than anything. Maybe 2. It's that, and anytime a team plays the Cowboys, how many times do they look at the stupid press box and show the owner sitting there like a plastic man, like, he's like the emperor from Star Wars. He like never dies. He's Palpatine. Like, right? And I'm just like, why do they get so much love? They never win, they haven't won. People talk about us not winning since the 94 season. They haven't won. They won the Super Bowl the following year, but we've had a couple Super Bowl appearances. We've won some conference championship games. We've been to some conference championship games. So I think there's a little bit of difference. At the end of the day, we haven't won since 94. So you can bang on the Niners for that. I don't get mad. I was talking to a Cowboys fan today. It's funny. He's a coworker of mine. I've known him since high school, and we used to mess with each other back then that pause. We used to go back and forth at each other with football talk and stuff. And I went up to him today and go, "What happened? What happened?" And he's like, "We forgot to get off the plane, dude." He's like, "We got crushed." But he was kind of mad about some of the stuff that went on, like with the T-shirt and some of the other stuff. And he thinks like, y'all are. He's like, "You guys are all super happy about the regular season right now. You haven't won nothing." I'm like, I never said that. And I said, I agree that it's too early to say anything, but I'm still going to enjoy the ride, dude. Like, they have a talented team, okay? These aren't scrubs. The Cowboys aren't scrubs. They have a legitimate roster. And we dropped 42 points on them, and they only scored 10. I think
not only that, but we shut it down pretty early in the fourth quarter.
Yeah, we had backups in at the beginning of the fourth quarter. That's ridiculous. Somebody in the comments made a comment about that, it's,
Could have
you
been
know,
50 plus easily.
if we keep winning the way we do, we're helping each other, or we're helping the team, stay healthy, then it's like it just helps us more down the road when we're playing games that actually mean something, and we have guys that are fresh. So Brain Time Motion and another donation. I think this is
That's
mine.
you.
I'm not.
That's you. Yeah.
It says, keep crushing it, Aaron. I like the videos and the shorts you're pushing out these days. 49ers family, let's go. Yeah, I'm all about content, dude. Like I'm not gonna be Grant. I'm not Jesse Naylor. I'm not all those really successful guys. It's just that's an unreachable goal. So what I do is
I'd just say not yet for you, my man.
I just put out content, whether it's mine or 49er stuff from their website or whatnot. Like I'm a 49er news channel. So that's what I do. So, and the fact that now I have a job that's a little bit less like stressful and I can kind of get away and post stuff real quickly in the corner on my phone while nobody can see me, makes it all that better.
So White Boy Rick is calling both of us out. He says you were wrong about Trey. Was that you, or he said Aaron was wrong about Trey, and he said I was wrong about since training camp. Also, want to say real quick, want to say hi to Grant Schick, a buddy of mine from Santa Clara U, great soccer player, great guy. So welcome to the chat, Grant.
Where is he? I don't see it.
He's I don't know, a little above your super chat, about 10 above, 8 above. Above Frank Motion. There you go.
Thanks for coming through, Grant. I appreciate it.
G Money.
That's
right.
Emperor Palpatine. Something's up with my computer. Like I click on stuff and
Emperor palpitations.
Emperor palpitations. Yeah, buddy.
Yeah. So Wiper Rick says, Aaron, you are wrong about Trey.
But what was I wrong about Trey about?
Yeah. And he says, and they said, Ted, you are wrong from training camp. Well, I would just ask you, White Boy Rick, how many training camp practices did you attend? Because unless you were there, you're going off someone else's word for it. And I know most people who know me know I don't lie. So, Purdy struggled. And I understand installing Purdy because of what he did last year and the assumption that he would get back to 2022 form or even better, which is what we've seen in the last 2.3 games. I think Purdy's been much better than anything we've ever seen from him. But the part I didn't understand was installing Darnold as the QB2. I mean, I guess I kind of did. If they knew that this is what was coming from Brock, then yeah, you got to get rid of Trey. But I just don't know how you could know this because no one had seen it. And, but hats off to Kyle. I gave him a lot of grief over the QB position. It looks like he nailed it. Like I said, the only thing I'm holding back on totally crowning Kyle is God forbid that we ever need Sam Darnold to step in. But, hopefully we don't. Hopefully Purdy can stay healthy.
Laura Cat with a $5 donation. She says, Aaron, it's because of your channel I joined this awesome 49er community. Thank you. Love you, Aaron. Appreciate that. That means a lot to me.
Money is flowing. See, it's like just needed both of us to be monetized. That's the difference. I think people felt bad doing it before because they're like,
we do appreciate it very much. Trust me.
Poverty Ted can't get a super chat.
Oh, yeah. Poverty. Mr. I live in Silicon Valley or whatever the hell you live. But yeah. No, but anyways.
Near Palo Alto. Yeah, but we're house poor though. So I mean, we have a nice house, but we have no money to spend because it all goes to the mortgage. So
I'm right there with you. There with you. Would you consider the 49ers the best team in the NFL right now over the Philadelphia Eagles?
Absolutely. Yeah. I even put it in, I guess I haven't really published it out yet. But if you look in my upcoming shows, is that where it is? Yeah. All right. So tomorrow morning, I'm doing a battle of the 5-0 creators. I have an Eagles content creator coming on, Bill of BSing at Sports. And if you look at the thumbnail for that, it shows, first of all, one of the memes is best chance to win the NFC. So that's not the whole NFL, obviously, but it has 49ers 55%. Eagles 16%, Lions 9%, Seahawks 3%. So no Cowboys on there at all, which I thought was interesting. I think that's kind of a week-to-week thing. I think the Cowboys will be back in there. I'm not sure that the Seahawks are better than the Cowboys. I'm not sure the Lions are even, but I think the Lions have a good case for it. But anyway, the one next to it is market-derived tiers. Computer Cowboy put it up, and it said Super Bowl or bust. There's only one in that tier, San Francisco 49ers with a score of 8.3. The next highest score, other contenders, Bills, as I mentioned, I had them as my number 2 last week before the Matt Milano injury. They're 6.6. Chiefs 6.1. Eagles 5.1. Cowboys 4.8. So that one does have the Cowboys in the top 5 for the NFL. So they should be in the top 4 for the NFC. Anyway, Dolphins 4.5. That's the next tier, other contenders. And then possibly frisky would be Ravens at 3.4, Bengals at 3.2, Lions at 2.5, Chargers at 1.72, honestly, even though they're not coming up well on this metric. But yeah, I think Niners are clearly the best team in football right now. We're blowing teams out. I think we have like 99-point differential, and the Eagles is like 30 something. We've played different teams, so it's harder to compare.
Do you think that the Eagles are sitting there and saying, "Good, give them all the attention," and then we'll come up? That's
give
my
us a
worry.
chip on the shoulder.
That's my worry. Is everybody's forgetting about the defending NFC champs? I'm not. You're not.
It makes me think I should go back to banging on Purdy and banging on the D after what Lenore said, right? Like they want to come out and prove it, you know.
Yeah, Lenore literally pulled a Michael Jordan and said they made comments about Dallas having a better D, and we took it personal. And I'm glad they took it personal.
And I said that. I said I thought they had the best D line in football and the best O line in football last week. Obviously,
that could still be true. I think the 49ers defensive line is good, but I think they're third best. I think it goes Philly, Dallas, and then us. Now, with the Randy Gregory situation, if he turns out to be something and Hargrave and Bosa start to really turn it on, or at least Bosa, and get some sacks, and they don't have to blitz much, then I'll change my opinion. I think overall is talent. I think the Niners have the best D overall. But if you go based on defensive line only, I'm going Dallas and Philly.
Yeah.
Or Philly and Dallas. And it's not a shot at our team. It's just, I mean, those guys, man, the way that the Eagles put pressure on people like Reddick, it's just like, damn. We would never give up any points if that was the case. Like, we played well on Sunday night, but I think we can play a whole other level higher than that. So that's just my personal opinion.
Reddick, Jalen Carter.
A guy that was
the old guy. The old guy.
Jalen Graham.
No, the DT. Well, he's also DT.
Cox.
Yes, Fletcher Cox. Thank you. He's a stud too.
Your boy Grant Schick with the $4.99 super duper.
Thank you, Grant.
Ted, and thank you so much. It's been a very lively chat so far today. Thank you.
Incredible. I mean, my best ever, but that's not saying much since yesterday was my best ever with a $2 super sticker from Edgar Ascoli. I got to call him out since it was my first one ever. I got to have his name burned into my memory for sure.
Donald Johnson says Niners defense isn't playing to full potential. It's not even close. 100% agree. It's weird. You can make statements like that, Donald. I make statements like that, other people, and people are like, what are you talking about? They haven't given up. Like, stop picking things apart. I saw somebody on Twitter saying, if you're making comments about the Niners defense, you're picking the team apart. And I'm like, no. You see things from a bigger perspective. You see down the road. You see, like, man, when we play a team like such and such, like, I hope the rush needs to be better than it was during the blah blah game, because they're going to kill us. You know what I mean? And people are like, oh, you're picking at things. I'm like, no, man, I've watched football 30 years. I know that's how my brain works. I'll always be happy for the game as it's happening when we're putting the boots to somebody. But as soon as the game's over, I'm already thinking like, okay, I saw this in the game. I saw that in the game. I saw this problem. Hope the Niners fix it. You know what I mean? That's just how I watch football. That's just me.
No doubt. Curtis, subscribe to your channel. It's a good reminder that we are streaming on both channels. So if you're on my channel, make sure you pop over and give Aaron a like and subscribe on 49ers First Take. Same thing.
I appreciate it. I appreciate it.
CB Ted Talks
CB
Ball,
Nutry.
If you're
as I said to you as well.
Yeah, I know. And if you're on a browser, open up two tabs, mute one of them. Gives us both the watch hours because these subs get you to these levels within YouTube. But once you have the requisite number of subs, they really don't matter. It's all about the view hours. So that's what really helps us. And obviously, these super chats are incredible. I'm really touched by all the generosity today. So thank you. Wow, holy smokes! Thank you, Nancy. Appreciate it.
Everybody's thank you so much for your generosity today. This is I feel like we feel like one of the big shots. We feel like
I
the big shots
know.
on here. Like I watch Grant Cohn and Larry show and they're $20 supers, $50. I'm like,
You know who really
damn.
hauls it in is Chase Senior with the 49ers Ultimate Report. Or no, that's Sean Jay. But whatever the 49ers report is that he does for Chat Sports, they do one. They get $50 and $100 super chats because they have like these goals, and they're like, "Hey, if you do this, we'll do a shot, and if you do that, we'll pound a beer bong, and if you do that, we'll
Really?
do." Yeah, and they rack in more super chats than I've ever seen any other Niner content creator do. And he's not even really a Niner. Let's be real. Chase Senior is a freaking Eagles fan, folks. Don't forget that, right? But hey, he is good. I like his shows, and I was definitely impressed by the supers that they rake in. It was amazing, amazing.
Nancy Cameron. I don't know if this is
She's
your
doubling down 5 and 2. Holy smokes! Thank you, Nancy.
Thank you so much, everybody. This is weird. We're not used to this. We
No,
appreciate it. Red Jet Shell said, "Tad talks ball. It doesn't take much to see how awesome you are, Aaron, as well." I appreciate that. Thank you. This is like a
Aaron
really
was
positive stream today. I'm feeling really good.
Aaron was my first ever show. Was
Yeah.
the Wednesday after the Rams game, and then we very quickly locked into this Wednesday cadence and came up with First and Ted. So I owe a lot to
This
you, my
content
friend.
is authentic. Grant Cohn wouldn't be there, but I was dad. I said what I said. Yeah, I don't hate on the successful guys. You know,
Well, Grant's a nepo baby. I mean, not Grant. Grant is a nepo baby, but so is Kyle. So here's the
eh,
deal about nepo babies, right? It gets your foot in the door,
it does.
but like it doesn't make you great. You don't just get to be great because your daddy helped you out. You got to sink or swim on your own eventually.
Right.
And both Grant and Kyle have. So say what you will about them, they would not be where they are. They got there sooner maybe by getting a head start, but or some people that are great probably never get the chance. I'll admit that, but getting the chance doesn't make you great.
Yeah, like I've never been on anybody's platform who has a huge platform, like kind of spotlight me. Maybe that's one of the reasons, but at the same time, like that's their choice to spotlight you. If they don't want to spotlight you and put you on their channel, then that's pretty much all you can, you know what I mean? You can't be like, I demand to be, taken seriously like such and such. Like they don't have to put you on. If I ever had a chance, I would be really nervous because if people come, a lot of people watch that show. If I came off like a freaking toolbox or a schlub, they would be like, wow, Aaron really sucks. So in a way, maybe I don't want that pressure, but
How about the Niners? I think I saw him get like $600 on one show. It was
yeah,
crazy. It was crazy because what they do then is that towards the end, like, all right, we're gonna shut it down in 2 minutes if we don't get a super chat, and then people like keep doing super chats to keep the show going, to keep it rolling, and they save content that's that they hadn't used, and they do it. So we should probably learn a little something from them. I mean, I definitely don't want to jam anybody for money, especially if anyone who doesn't have it, but at the same time, you got to respect people who are able to provide entertainment and then also get people to want to give you the money too. I have nothing but respect for that for sure.
yeah.
Um, there was
She
one I saw. Oh, silly fun guy in the house. He says, "How did the hipster burn his mouth? He ate the pizza before it was cool." Oh, oh, oh.
Are you my dad reincarnated? Oh my gosh.
I like that
My
joke.
dad was the ultimate. He loved crap like poop jokes and stuff, but he was the ultimate like bum, and I'm just like, oh geez.
I'm
He
off the
would
poop jokes with a 3 week old. Our son was born 3 weeks and 2 days ago, and he is a poop monster, and he's got like
that's my
gas.
boy.
He's unhappy, so he's like crying all the time. It's been tough for sure, but he's healthy other than that, and seems like a good kid, but just like trying not to hold it against him. But my wife and I are both just like, it's a lot.
I was a really needy baby. I cried a lot. So, Red Jet Shell, she says, I appreciate content from fans that watch like we do, stress like we do, don't spin narratives or sell their perceptions, sell their perceptions. Here's my thing. Um, the bigger you are, especially if you have a bunch of sponsors and you're like really popular and you had something before YouTube, it's not really about 49er talk at that point. It's a business. It's a job. When you get that big, that's what it is. So like you're not going to get that authentic feel from a channel when they have, they're making 10, 12K a month off of YouTube. You know what I mean? It becomes like a full-time job. When you're kind of a lower rung person like me and I guess Ted are, like it's a legitimate passion thing. If you don't have passion, you don't do it. So,
I'm still making my way to the lower rung. I'm almost there.
well, I'm barely holding on, so I'll give you a hand.
Did you see Laura Katz's chat down below?
I saw it. I'm gonna have to get that T-shirt before any shirt goes up in the air because I will scare children if that's the case.
She said she'll donate $49 if we lift up our shirts and show the F the Cowboys shirt.
I don't have it. I don't have
either.
it.
I'm wearing a Dias de los Muertes Niners shirt underneath my jersey. I don't think anybody wants to see me lift my shirt, honestly.
49ers to say, do you guys have any 49er FTS?
NFTs.
What's
NFTs, non-fungible tokens. They're like these little cartoons that people buy. It's like artwork, and it's like you see like the little ape ones and stuff. People use them as their avatars. A lot of the Ethereum people, the crypto people have them.
Gotcha.
They're also artwork. Like apparently Steph Curry spent like $300K on one that's like supposedly artwork. But no, I don't have any NFTs yet. I just have
what I want to move the chat or the content
one
along.
One thing that I wanted to come back to real quick before we move along.
Okay.
We were talking about D-line. I wanted to get your thoughts on the Randy Gregory trade.
I thought the Randy Gregory move was a very, very smart, high reward, low floor type thing or low risk, high reward. Niners aren't paying any money other than like 800K to whatever, 2 million. And the Broncos are taking all of that. And he's a speed rusher. Doesn't get a lot of sacks, but he's a pressure guy. I think that's exactly what we need on the end of Bosa, on the other end of Bosa. I said this in the preseason to everybody who would listen. If you know me and Raj, RSF 49ers Live, we said the same thing. The Niners, I just would have felt more comfortable if they would have went out and got themselves another end opposite Bosa. They didn't do that. They've been rolling with a collection of guys that didn't do anything where they originally came from, and Drake Jackson. And so far, I've seen nothing that would make me think that was the right choice. So the Randy Gregory move, to me, if it works out, that's one of those John Lynch like chef kiss, like master class, type front office moves, kind of like last year with Christian McCaffrey and a couple years ago, Emmanuel Sanders. So I'm happy with it. I think it'll affect us even more when we get guys like Luter and Womack back, because then our secondary be full strength. Maybe we, take a guy like Isaiah Oliver out of the lineup so he doesn't give up huge touchdowns, and we bring in someone like, I don't know, Womack, or move someone to the slot, or whatever configuration. So I'm really happy about it. What about you?
Yeah, I'm happy. I think there's a little overreaction on it, like because we were talking about like Ngakoue a lot this offseason.
Yeah,
was a guy that kind of you and I agreed like, hey, we'd love to get that guy. I just don't think it's that. I don't think he's going to be that impactful. But if you just look at it as somebody who's almost certainly better than Kerry Hyder, and who we let go, and like you said, super cheap, 800K. We gave them a 6th. They gave us back their 7th. Their 7th might right now. I think they're like picking third overall in the draft. And hopefully ours is at the end of the 6th round. So we might have only lost 3 draft spots. or 4 or 5, 6, but a handful of draft spots is what it looks realistic. So yeah, like you said, low risk, high reward. Like you said, he's bendy, he's long, pause. He gets
Hey,
good pressures. I think he's pretty good at strip sacks as well too. So yeah, I'm excited to have him as a depth piece. I think Drake Jackson is probably still better, but they can probably learn from each other. And like you said, he does have that. He is a 4.6 guy, which is pretty fast for a D end. Until like Robert Beal or maybe Austin Bryant can contribute more.
yeah, my whole thing is I'm not super overly excited because I mean he cost a lot of money and went to the Broncos and really hasn't done much. Now maybe that's the Broncos; they didn't know how to use him.
And they didn't have
You know,
they didn't have Bosa, they didn't have Hargrave, they didn't have
right.
Armstead.
So in a way, maybe this is the perfect fit for him. I'll put it like this.
I mean, they have DJ
Uh,
Jones, who's a solid D tackle,
right. I'm
but
TBD
but he's not.
on
I
Randy
don't think he's
Gregory.
Hargrave, and I don't think he's
No,
Armstead.
no, but I really don't know. I mean, maybe he's going to be something totally incredible. We don't know.
Yeah.
David McDiner says Randy Gregory should thrive in our system. Donald Johnson says, "How do you think Gregory will do Sunday?" I don't know. I don't even know if he's starting. I think he might be a backup, so he's probably going to get limited reps.
I know the
Uh,
Browns have a pretty good offensive line,
yeah, the Browns have a really good defense too.
really good defense, and I'm sure we'll get to that.
Yeah. Before I want to talk about your thoughts on Fred Warner's massive game on Sunday.
Yes.
Uh, Sack, forced fumble, interception. Is it safe to say that that kind of performance should at least get the attention of the NFL for a possibly, a defensive player of the year if he continues to play the way he is? I mean, even if he's just in the conversation. A lot of people are saying he's the best middle linebacker in football, and it's not even close. He's getting a lot of lofty comparisons to guys that once played. Again, it's when the Niners are doing good, it's weird, man. The Niners get no national plug, and then all of a sudden, it's like every single year when the Niners start to do good, all of a sudden the national media is in love with them, and this happens every single year. And sure enough, right now everybody loves the Niners, which to me is like, oh, I wish we were the kind of the underdog and just kind of doing stuff incognito because now everybody loves us and now the eyes are right on the team. But maybe it's what we need. Maybe we're that good and it doesn't matter. What was your take on that game? I thought Fred Warner played one of the best games I've ever seen a linebacker play. The only other thing he could have done is get a pick and return it for a touchdown. So, how'd you feel about that?
Yeah, he was incredible. He did a great job. So did Dre Greenlaw. Both our linebackers looked phenomenal. The defense just looked lights out. Gibson with the pick. Fonga putting pressure that I think led to a pick or a PBU or something. I mean, it was a masterclass for sure. And sure enough, we've gone. Talk about everybody loving us. We've gone from 5.5 point favorites against the Browns to 6. Now we're all the way up to 7-point favorites in Cleveland, which is really a 10-point spread -3 for their home field advantage in Cleveland.
For anybody who doesn't know, Randy Gregory will wear number 5, which was formerly of Trey Lance. So for anybody who bought a Trey Lance jersey, I am so sorry. That's why you don't buy quarterback jerseys until they've proven it. Like if Brock Purdy balls out, okay, that's a really good year. Even if we don't win the Super Bowl, I'm going to get a Brock Purdy jersey.
We just could
But
put you could just put some athletic tape over the nameplate and write Gregory on it.
right, you got people got to be careful with those type of things, man. You just with jersey quarterback jerseys, especially like young quarterbacks. I like even with Brock, I might even wait another year. I might wait till the end of next season. You know what I mean? Just to be sure. Because my nephew got himself a Garoppolo, and he's like, "What am I gonna do with this?" So like, well, Ronnie Bell's number 10 now. So I mean,
Yeah, so you can do the same
unless you know
name.
how to sew and get rid of all those letters.
I mean, I
Sorry.
said I would buy a Purdy jersey if he won the Super Bowl. And so since I let him off the hook and said if he balls out, we don't win the Super Bowl, then I can't hold it against him. Then I'll up the ante on my Brock Purdy jersey buying and say I will buy a Brock Purdy jersey and replace Steve Young.
That's big time right
if he
there.
keeps balling out like he has been the last 2.5 games, regardless of the outcome this season, I'm not going to pin that on young Brock Purdy if he keeps balling out.
Definitely. What's your take on? Well, let's go to the Browns real quick. Do like
Okay.
a quick summary of the Browns. They're possibly going to be without Deshaun Watson.
Yeah, looks that
The
way.
the Niners are probably going to face a quarterback who's on the practice squad right now, which is, sounds great for us. But the Browns have a really good defense, and like you said, they have a really good offensive line. So my overall take is I think the Niners will beat the Browns, but I'm a little bit I'm a little bit not confused. What's the word I'm looking for? I'm a little bit at a loss right now of trying to figure out what kind of game the Niners will have because of their good defense. They're traveling all the way to the East Coast. Like, we're getting used to these blowouts, and it's like at some point we're going to play a close game here that we're going to have to either come back from behind or stave off a team from coming from behind. So, what's your take on the Browns?
I mean, their defense is legit. They're, the number one overall defense. Last week, when I was cross-referencing defenses, they were number one in yards allowed. I think they still are, and they were top 3 in scoring percentage, drives that score TDs. So the D is really good. They obviously have Myles Garrett, who is.
Damn, you didn't give me a chance to say pause. Sorry.
Myles Garrett is excellent. He is right there with Bosa and TJ Watt as the best edges in the NFL. I'm leaving Micah Parsons off, obviously, now, especially after this last game. So they also have Zadarius Smith, who came from Vikings by way of Green Bay, where he gave us hell for many years as a Packer. So they have a great set of bookend defensive ends. They have Dalvin Tomlinson, who's a really outstanding defensive tackle. And then they have Shelby Harris, who's a good D tackle, who was a Bronco and was part of the Russ Wilson trade and then became a free agent and left the Seahawks to go to the Browns. Also defensively, they have Jeremiah Owusu-Koramoah, who was a draft crush for many 49ers fans, ones that have Notre Dame ties. He's really fast linebacker, really versatile. He's kind of that star position type player where he could play linebacker, he could play safety, he could play nickel. I don't know about boundary corner, but he's super versatile. And then Anthony Walker is really fast too. They have a really good defense. Denzel Ward is one of the better corners. Grant Delpit is playing really well at strong safety. Juan Thornhill is a solid safety who used to be a Chief. And then Emerson Martin, I don't know very well, but and Greg Newsome, Nickelback, and he, I believe, was. No, I guess he was always drafted to the Browns. I think I got confused and thought he went to the Packers as well, but that's the other. That's Stokes went to the Packers.
Randy Daytona says he thinks that they have a Browns have a chance if Sam Darnold starts. So what he's trying to say is that he doesn't think the Rams have a shot. They have possibly no Chubb. Well, they have no Chubb and no Watson. Yeah, I just offensively, this would be a good game for the 49ers to tee off. You got to beat the teams that are in front of you, especially if they're dinged up. You know what I mean?
So. Yeah, they do have a good back named Jerome Ford, and they have Kareem Hunt, who they acquired recently after the Chubb injury, because Chubb's out for the year with a torn MCL. So, which thank goodness for him, it looked like a really gruesome injury, and it was no ACL or any of the worst ligaments to tear. So their running attack might be a little better than you might think, but yeah, I mean, they've got injuries on the O line. Joel Bitonio, their all-pro right guard. I'll make sure. Oh no, that's Wyatt Teller. Their left guard, Joel Bitonio, left the field last week on crutches, and he's day to day. And I think it's on the depth chart I'm looking at on our lads. Ethan Posick, the center who used to be from the Seahawks, he's listed in red along with Deshaun Watson, so he might be doubtful. Which would be if they're missing 2 out of their 5 offensive linemen, their quarterback and their star running back, it's hard to imagine their offense being real prolific. I'd be interested to see Dorian Thompson-Robinson, DTR, who is a UCLA. He was drafted out of UCLA and was pretty impressive in the preseason. But there's a big difference between preseason and regular season, obviously.
Brian Culp, I love you. And he's bringing up all these statistics. This is what I love about Brian Culp. But he's always brings a little fun into it because I know he's just messing around. It says Browns beat the 49ers in the 1949 in the AAFC championship game. Wow, that's crazy.
They won like 8 championships, I think, before the Super Bowl.
Right. So I guess they have
mattered.
the most.
Now they haven't even been to a Super Bowl. That's one reason to respect Browns fans. I mean, they've hung in, I'd say, through thick and thin, but it's just been pretty much thin and thin.
Thin and thin. There is no thick.
No.
Pause. Chris Orsono says 35-12. He said earlier, Browns are getting killed. They struggled against the same Steelers that we soundly beat, and I have confidence in our 2 MVPs in Purdy and CMC. I do too. But these are those games. I hate to say every game that we play against a team that we should beat is a trap game, but you're coming off a game where you crushed the Dallas Cowboys, and now you're going to play the Browns. You know what I mean? So
yeah, it could be a letdown. Also, that's an interesting thing because, a lot of people want to know why I changed my mind on Brock Purdy. And part of it was, I was pretty vocal. I got into some trouble, with some people about name a Steelers linebacker type of thing. People called me a misogynist or sexist because I said it to a woman, even though I said the same thing to a man the day before. But part of my impression, or my, I don't know, impressedness with Brock Purdy is that the Steelers beat the Ravens over the weekend. And the Ravens are one of my top 10 NFL teams. So, I think it gives more credibility to our week 1 victory over the Steelers because other than that, they'd only beaten the, the Raiders and the Browns. Anyway, yeah. Or I guess the Browns beat the Steelers. No, I think the Steelers.
You want to go do a 49ers Browns score prediction as we come up on an hour here?
I have no clue. I haven't really thought about it, but I'm going to say 49ers 24. I'm going to copy my last week's score because I thought the Dallas Cowboys had a legit D. I really believe the Browns do. I'll say 49ers 24, Browns 13.
I'm going to go same amount of points given up, but I'm going to go 49ers 27. They're going to kick a couple field goals in this game.
It'll make 27. Brian Culp happy.
Oh, Brian Culp. I thought me and him, because I was a big Booty fan too, and me and him were like, oh, I don't know. During the preseason, we were like, God,
what have we done?
This is a colossal draft pick mistake, but we were wrong. So I'm going to go 27-13, 49ers. 2 quick questions here about things that came to the light after the game. There's been a report that teams are targeting McCaffrey, like to hurt him. It's been known around the league that some teams have been trying to take shots at him and hurt him. Have you heard anything about that? And what's your thought?
Well, I saw that early face mask in the game where he yanked his neck, and I'm sitting there thinking I could just see him later in the game getting stiff or, pause or, having vertigo or, you get dizziness, all kinds of stuff from
I've had vertigo
getting
before.
Your neck twist. It's not fun.
No. It's not surprising when a team's doing good. I mean, they did it back in the day with Montana. Anytime the Niners were in an NFC Championship game with the Giants, he just happened to get knocked out of the game. So it's not. It still happens. It's been happening. Teams get targeted because you're not good enough to beat them. Yeah, you're not good enough to beat somebody on your own. So you got to find a cheap way to do it. I wouldn't consider it cheating. I consider it gamesmanship, but in a really low class way. And then we have the T-shirt gate, everything with gate, Watergate, McCaffrey gate, T-shirt gate. Looks like he might be getting a fine coming his way. Micah Parsons reacted to it, says that Niners better watch it the next time we play them. They're going to put it to us, this, that, and the other. What's your take on the T-shirt gate? I knew about it before it happened from Raj. Raj told me about it. He's like, "Don't say anything." He told me about it, I think Saturday, that he was gonna pull the T-shirt out thing if they scored or won or something. And sure enough, I didn't think Kittle would actually do it, and he did it. So, thoughts on the possible fine, and what's your thoughts overall? Him channeling the great Gary Plummer with the F the Cowboy shirt.
Yeah, I love it. Yeah, there's a curse word on it, right? The F word. So I could see why you would fine him. And I just say worth every penny. And good job, Kittle. It's one of the reasons why it's my favorite player. Just absolutely love it. Start a GoFundMe and make sure that none of it comes out of his pocket. I mean, Jed should just take care of it. But no, it was great. I love that. Micah Parsons saying, "Laugh now, cry later," or whatever. Just
Whatever,
no, buddy.
dude.
It's laugh now, laugh later. And the best was him coming out of the game and saying, "Oh, we're the same type of team. We're contenders just like them, and score of the game doesn't really matter anyway." And
He doesn't see that. He's like, I don't see them being as a higher level than us. I'm like, what are you
and I
talking
was
about, bro?
I was like, yeah. Well, I quote tweeted and I said, "Hey, Micah, honest question: what color is the sky in your world?" Because that's
Are
what I
you
say to
kidding
highly
me?
delusional people that say
We beat them
stupid
3
stuff.
straight times, and this last time, that game was over. That game was over in the third quarter.
Yeah,
Actually, if you think about it was really over at halftime, but
we dismantled them.
they got crushed. Their defensive coordinator, I saw some clip or saw some text from something he said saying how he's really bummed out that the Niners crushed them. So, hey, whatever, dude. James Jernal says, Parsons said, "You want to make it personal? It's personal. Laugh now, cry later. Cry later." Debo got interviewed today and said it's already was personal. That's why we put 42 on you. I love it. You know what? I'm sick of the Niners being the good guys. Freaking talk the S, man. Talk the S.
Take
I don't care. I'm so sick of us being the choir boys of the NFL. Freaking talk. They've been backing it up. That's shoot. It's not like we're 0-5. We're winning. We're scoring over 30 points a game. We scored 42 in this last one. Teams aren't even. I mean, like it's not even a talk your ass, dude. Just keep performing. As long as you keep winning, it don't matter. Don't matter.
exactly.
CJ Gray is exactly what I was thinking. I said he was just paying homage to the rivalry. Parsons just too soft. Yeah, totally. 100%. I mean, I'm not going to go the Dante Whitner route and just say, like, hey, what do you think about Dak Prescott? He sucks. And then getting all sorts of hell from people saying that he's not professional and that, like, he's a respected, player and he's an analyst and he shouldn't be talking about players like that. What do you think about that one?
I mean, I don't think you should use that terminology necessarily because no NFL QBs suck. But, everybody wanted to blame Kellen Moore and whoever the OC was before that. And, I think it was, Garrett was there for a while. And, at what point are you going to blame Dak, right? I mean, at some point you got to, I had Cowboys Greg on. He was on a week ago, Monday, for the preview, and he agreed to come on this last Monday at 1 p.m. And towards the end of the show, he said, "Yeah, we need to make a change. Dak is not going to get us where we need to go. I'm over Dak." And he wrote an article about it too. And I think Cole's Cowboys, who I had on the Wednesday before the game, I think he's pretty much over Dak as well too, or he's at least saying Dak is deserving of criticism. He's not defending him, so it's interesting. I'll be interested to see what Ashley Baker says about it. She came on last week too. Actually, I had 4. I had my old trainer from San Francisco, Onzo, was on with his brother. That was a lot of fun on Friday. He was the one who I used to go train with him, and he was like my trainer, but he's also kind of like part therapist. I'd talk to him about, whatever's going on in my life. And then, once we got done with like the real life stuff, it was all football because he's a Cowboys fan. I'm a Niners fan, and there's a big Eagles fan in the same gym as us. And we had 3 of us would sit around talking football all the time. And Onzo's just like, dude, you should just go do this. You love this, you're passionate. And so he's the one who got me to start my YouTube channel.
Nice. I got a question for you guys before we end this as a fan. how much does a 49er win affect your week? Or how much does a 49er win when they're winning like they've been winning and like they're doing really well right now, 5-0? I don't know about you guys, but my chest, I always walk with my head up and my chest out because I just like to walk like, I'm an ass kicker just so people won't bother me, even if I'm not. I have a very good standing posture. My sitting posture is horrible, but my standing posture is great. I'm gonna let you know, like, people were coming up to me at work and be like, "Yo, the 49ers look good." And I'm like, "I know." I was like so happy. I want to know if I'm not. I mean, almost 44 years old. Uh, it just I've been very happy this year, and it's I don't know, it's kind of weird. I have thought by the time I got to my 40s that I wouldn't let football affect me in a positive or negative light. Yeah, I'm still pumped. Red Jet Shell says inspiration. Feel like I can play on the team too. Right? Yeah, put me in at offensive lineman. I weigh enough now to be an offensive lineman.
Matt, it's been a great week, no doubt about it. A great week last week. It all kind of started though with the Cards game when I was like, nice deep ball to Ayuk, and I'm like, come give me grief because I'd been saying, that he hadn't thrown a deep ball. I didn't say he couldn't. People were saying, oh, you said he couldn't throw a deep ball. I was like, no, I didn't say he couldn't. I said he hadn't. And so there is a little double-edged sword with all this because I knew I was going to have to do something like this apology tour, and but I've been kind of waiting. It was like my whole stance on Purdy was like either he's going to stay sort of how he was, which was like to me sort of mid-level, and I was going to stay with my stance, or he was going to prove me wrong and I was going to apologize. And I'm just glad it happened quickly and decisively.
Yeah,
I just
didn't wait all
didn't want
season.
that to linger this whole season because my follows and subscribes and views were all taking big hits. But I did say when I did the poll of like, should I crown Purdy? That was back last week, and I was like, because I'd rather lose all those things and keep winning games than
Yep.
than be a jinx. So if it turns out that that he starts playing poorly, I'll go back to being the heel again and take my hits, but hopefully keep the team winning. That's the key.
Laura definitely says it affects her in a positive way. James is not as impressed. He says 49ers, wow, was 10 when they last won last when they last won one. We need a Super Bowl. I agree. Yeah, I feel I'm kind of I jump back. I jump between those two mindsets. I usually by the end of the week, I'm like, all right, that wasn't a big of a deal. Let's go on win the next one.
It just feels
Red,
like if we can stay relatively healthy, that
I really do think this could be a special year.
it just seems
Red
like
Jet
it.
Shell says I'm 44 and I still have heart attacks. So me too. I'm the worst watching games. Like last week's game being so much of a lopsided situation was great. I felt I had a headache though after the game because I don't know. I don't know if it's like during the winter time I start to feel sick because the heat's on in the house all the time. So it like dries you out or whatever. But I was just like, I feel like crap. But at least the Niners won. Um,
And I feel like I should just say it again for anyone who missed it earlier. I was wrong. I apologize. Purdy is a franchise QB. I've moved him up to 6 to 9 in the NFL, which I think is pretty. I think there's some people that have him higher than that now, but I'll always be probably a little more the skeptic, wanting to see more before I move him up. But there's no reason he can't become elite and be top 5, especially if he keeps improving. Which I never thought he could get this good. Let's be honest. I didn't think this was possible with Brock
I
Purdy.
I thought we could be pretty solid with him. I didn't think he would start to ascend the way he's been ascending. So I wouldn't say I was wrong about him, but I definitely didn't expect what's happening. And I'll stay humble, James said, and to just let's win a Super Bowl. But not gonna. This would be the first time in a long time I'm going to enjoy the ride. I'm going to enjoy the ride. I'm not going to sit there and be like, well, unless we win a Super Bowl, I'm going to be a miserable piece of trash. Like, no, I'm going to enjoy the ride this year and be miserable if we don't win. But at the same time, if we do, now it'll be like I actually enjoyed the season all the way through and didn't like sit there with on my hands waiting for us to fail so I could say, see, I told you. I'm not going to do that. I'm choosing to look at it differently this year, and so far it's worked. So I'm not going to change. But great show, Ted. Uh, another banger, as I would say. Pause. I'm looking forward to the Browns game on Sunday already. I want more. I'm like Anakin in Star Wars Episode 3. I want more, but I know I shouldn't. I want more. I want more power. It feels good to have power when your team's winning. So, anything going on in your channel that you want to plug before you get out here?
Yeah, I kind of did earlier in the show. I have 8:30 a.m., 11:30 Eastern. Eagles content creator coming on, Bill from BSing It. And then 10 a.m. tomorrow, 1 p.m. Eastern, Ryan Hensley is coming on.
Nice.
And then Friday morning, 9 a.m., Chris Polo from the Polo Show. Anshul Shah Friday at 1, and Bash Friday at 3, Bowling with Bash and Ted. So those are all Pacific Standard Times. They found me.
One real quick plug. I have at 9 o'clock tonight, so in about an hour and 15 minutes, it'll be me and Raj from RSF 49ers Live. So hopefully you guys come check that out. It'll be on the channel here as well. And then I'm pretty free after that. Might have some stuff going on this weekend if I could find some victims that be willing to come on my channel and be part of the Happy Time Parade that's going on right now with me. So I'll let you guys know. Check the community tabs. We always enjoy everybody. Thanks for the super chats. Thanks for the interaction. Everybody have a great rest of your evening. We'll talk to you next Wednesday. Go Niners.
Thanks, everybody. Peace.